In this video, we're going to break down the 2019 LSU Tigers, the offense that redefined what's possible in college football. Known as one of the most explosive and efficient offenses of all time, LSU's spread attack led by Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson wore apart defenses week after week. By the end of this video, you'll have the formations, the setups, and the strategies to recreate this offense and dominate your opponents in college football 25. To make this your ultimate resource for this LSU offense, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to look at their core principles that made this LSU offense tick. We're going to break down the key formations and plays in this scheme. We're going to go over key concepts and go over essential plays and concepts that made this offense so unique. And then we're going to have an in-game breakdown section where you're going to see me using this live so you can learn how to adjust to real game opponents. Now, this offense is part of a bigger scheme I'm making where I'm breaking down 3 super spread offenses with each getting their own video. But because they're all run out of the Georgia Bulldogs playbook, you'll be able to mix and match elements from each one to create one unstoppable offense. Now, if you want to check out everything that is out so far for this super spread scheme, I will link the playlist down below. So the 2019 LSU Tigers weren't just dominant, they were revolutionary. They were unstoppable. Their offensive philosophy revolved around spreading the field, attacking with space, and using elite talent to stress defenses at every level. So what made them special? First, NFL level passing concepts. Joe Brady, LSU's passing game coordinator, brought Sean Payton inspired NFL route combinations and blended them with college RPOs and air raid passing to create a unique hybrid scheme. They had elite quarterback play. Joe Burrow delivered one of the greatest QB seasons in history with 5,671 passing yards, 60 touchdowns, and a 76.3 completion rate. They had dynamic playmakers. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson dominated defenses in different ways. Chase won vertically with his speed and explosiveness, while Jefferson owned the middle of the field with elite route running and yards after the catch. And then they were full field threats. LSU's spread created mismatches everywhere. They used wide splits on the receivers, pre-snap motions, and formations to isolate defenders and force them into no-win situations. Now, the first formation we are looking at is spread flex weak. This is a shotgun 2x2 spread formation with one slot receiver on each side of the ball. Now, this is an amazing classic spread look where we can attack both sides of the field. Then we can also utilize a ton of motion in this formation, get our running back out in space, and open up vertical shots down the field. Now, the first play we are looking at here is going to be PA read. It's going to be our version of the classic air raid Y cross concept, and it's a great way to attack zone coverage with a really good horizontal stretch across the field. To set this up, come out with your running back to the wide side, then take the slot on the wide side and put him on a hitch, then take the backside slot receiver and put him on a deep cross. Now, first at the snap, I always look to the hitch on the wide side, and if the flat defender fires way outside or drops out at the snap, then we just want to quick throw that hitch right away and pick up those easy yards. Then if at the snap you see the flat bite down in the hitch, then you want to wait till that deep cross comes across the field, and then you can throw it in behind the flat on the wide side of the field. Also with this play, if the linebackers or user jump down on the play fake or blitz, then you can also throw this cross as he breaks over the middle of the field. Then if the user and hooks follow the deep cross and the flat defender on the short side jumps down on the running back in the flat, then you can throw this spot route as he sits down in the zone coverage. Lastly, if everything is taken away down the field, then you can just also look to check it down to the running back in the flat. Next up, we have H motion for verts, and this is a great concept that's built around this auto motion that gets up the seam along with a really nice crosser from our other slot player. To set this play up, it's super easy. Just take your auto motion player, you want him starting on the short side of the field, then coming across to the wide side, and that is the whole setup. The first place we want to look here is the motioned over seam route, and if he is open up the seam and there isn't any linebackers under him, then you can just fire this in for a big pickup. Next, if the user runs with the seam or there's another defender underneath the seam ball, then you want to look to the other slot on the crosser as he cuts across the field. This is a great route to get to that super tough area of the field, and with the motion over, it really helps pull the user out of the middle of the field, leaving this route more open. Then if both vertical routes are taken away, we have our running back on an option route as the check down. This is great because versus zone he will sit down or man he will break out, giving us really good option either way. The next formation formation we have is cluster HB strong. It is a bunch variation where we're going to have our running back to the bunch side, which makes this a 4-by-1 look. The LSU Tigers love to employ some of these condensed bunch looks to add more variation to their offense. This formation has a great mix of auto motion plays where we can run the ball and work in screen passes. Then this auto motion can also lead to some great ways to push the ball down the field with some great vertical shot plays. Now the run play we're breaking down here is 4-5 quick base. This is an excellent spread run look where we're going to have an inside handoff, but we're also going to get a guard pulling out in front, and he can be a lead blocker for you on this play. Just let him make his block, then explode out from behind him. This run is great to use when the defense is spreading out to match your formation and they are keeping their safeties back. Then this should give us some really big running lanes to exploit with this 4-5 quick base. Next up, we have the play Z spot, and this is a great man beater that has 4 really good routes, all attacking different levels of the field. To set this up, come out with your bunch to the wide side, then take your outside receiver on the wide side and put him on a slant route, then take the inside receiver on this side and put him on a whip. Now our first read is going to be the corner route, and you want to throw this on break, and he's going to get separation, and this is just a very good man beating route. The thing I love about corner routes versus man coverage is we are throwing it to the sideline and keeping the ball away from the user in the middle of the field. Now the backside Z post is going to be a great option if they have no safeties deep over the top. Then as this player breaks up field, you can hit him deep for some really big gains. Then for our underneath options on this play, we have the slant breaking over the middle and we have the whip breaking out. Both are very good check down options or hots if they are bringing a blitz. Then the last formation we're looking at is Trey Open, and this can be our HB strong or offset variation. This is a shotgun 3-by-1 set with 2 slot receivers on the trip side of the ball. This is another great formation and something that LSU would use a ton. Now for our college football offense, this is going to be the formation we are probably going to use the most, and it has a really good mix of solid runs, a series of plays built around an HB swing pass, and then a bunch of plays to attack both man and zone coverage for really nice gains. Now the play we're going to be starting out here with is motion HB swing. This is a great way to get the ball in your running back's hands on the perimeter where he can make plays, and this swing pass sets up multiple other plays in this formation for us. On this play, we want our swing pass always going to the wide side of the field. Then we're going to have 3 lead blockers out in front that can help spring you for big gains. Now we want to go to this play call until we see their user start to be aggressive and leave the middle to take the swing. Then we can go to our counters. The counter we're breaking down in this video is going to be motion inside cross. This play starts with the same swing motion out of the backfield, but now we have multiple deep options going down the field that we can go to. So the setup for this play is you want your running back swing going to the wide side of the field, then take your outside receiver on the wide side and put him on a streak, and that is it. Now with this play built around the swing motion, our goal is to pull the user out of the middle of the field. Then we have a deep post breaking back that direction, and if the user is out of position, now we can just fire this in for huge gains. This is a great post that stays in front of the deep blues while also getting in behind the linebackers for some really nice pickups. The other option, if the deep post is taken away, is the corner route, and if the flat stays shallow and is biting down on the swing pass, then you can drop this corner route in along the sideline. Then lastly, if both the vertical options are covered, then we can check it down to our running back in the flat and just let him pick up whatever yards he can with the ball in his hands. Then if you want to take your college football 25 game to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Right now we have part 2 of this LSU offense where I show you guys even more RPOs and runs for this scheme, along with a ton more plays to attack man and zone coverage deep down the field where we can hit a ton of explosive plays. Then there is a ton more coming on the site for this super spread offense, so be on the lookout. Then I also have a ton of offensive stuff on the site, like my new dual threat QB offense, where I'm breaking down 6 of the greatest running quarterbacks of all time and how you can use them to their full potential in both Madden and college football 25. Then I also have my spread to run offense where I broke down 3 of the best college football offenses ever. Then I have full defenses on the site, like my Nick Saban defensive scheme and my Bill Belichick defensive scheme, and they are for Madden and college football as well. So by subscribing to the site, you'll get access to all of my Madden 25 content and college football 25 content for one price. And on the site, you can purchase the yearly membership, which will save you $50 over the course of the year. Then I'm also going to be running our super spread sale on the site, and this is going to run until February 21st. Use code SUPER to get 50% off your first month if you do the monthly membership. And if you want to check out the site, I will link it down below. Now in this section, we're going to break down what we can learn from the real life implementation of this LSU offensive scheme and how we can apply those strategies to our offense in college football 25. And I wanted to come up with some plays where we can use our playmakers in the same way LSU used their big 3 of Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson in their Madden magical 2019 season. So the play we're going to use to recreate Burrow's elite processing and decision making is RPO peak bubble and Trey Open. This is a great RPO that gives us 3 really good options, and it's all built around the QB reading the defense and attacking the defense's weakness. So here we want to come out with our trips to the wide side, and we want to keep our eyes on the linebackers in the middle of the field, and if they fire down to stop the run, then we just want to throw the slant to our slot in behind them for a really nice gain. Then if you're watching the linebackers and they start to back out underneath the slant, now this is just going to open up the handoff and you can get right downhill with your running back, and this can lead to some really nice pickups on the ground. Then the third option on this play is if pre-snap you see the bubble screen player is uncovered, or if at the snap you see the player over the top of him fires inside on the run, then we can just throw the bubble on the outside, and now there'll just be a one-on-one block and you can just turn the corner and get some really nice pickups. So then the next play we're breaking down here is Y cross flood in Trey Open, and it will have a one-on-one matchup where we can bomb cover 3 defenses, and I wanted to recreate how the Tigers would take shots down the field whenever they had one-on-ones with Chase on the outside. Then for over the middle, we have a deep post that can be super explosive, and this can recreate how Justin Jefferson dominated when working over the middle of the field. So for the setup here, you want to come out with your trips to the short side of the field, then take your inside slot and put them on a streak, then put your middle slot on a slant, and lastly take your outside receiver on the wide side and motion him in. Now first against cover 3, look to our solo receiver on the fade. He is going to get in behind his defender, and as soon as your wide receiver clears in behind the cornerback, you're going to see him be pretty flat-footed. Then you just want to throw this and pass lead it up and away towards the sideline as far as you can, and this can turn it into a massive gains versus those one-on-one coverages in cover 3. Next, if that fade isn't there, you want to look to the post over the middle, and the deep blues on this play are going to get run off by our 2 streaks, and if the hooks and users stay shallow, then we can just fire in this post for some absolutely massive pickups over the middle of the field. Then if the deep post is taken away, we want to look to either our slant shallow over the middle or our running back underneath, and these are going to be our 2 check down options or our hots versus the blitz on this play. All right, so here we are with drive 1, and you're going to see how I actually use this offense in game and how I can adjust during the drives to kind of whatever the defense is throwing at me. So I always like to start a new drive, a new game with a run or an RPO. I do this because I want to see kind of what coverage they're in, what they're really doing defensively, and we're starting with the play RPO peak bubble. So right here, we're kind of keeping our eyes on these 2 linebackers and this player right here, and if this slant comes open and these guys bite down, then we want to throw the slant in behind them. Everybody in the box bites down. This guy's playing back too far, so we can just throw that slant in right there, pick up 7 yards. Now he was in man coverage on that first play, so I called one of our man beaters with the play scissors, but this play also can work versus zone, so I was pretty confident I could work this against man or zone. We see out here he calls zone. His flat defender bites way down on our flat route right here. We have a deep corner route going in along the sideline to our tight end. Then if it was man coverage, we have the post, we have the corner route, and we have a C route on the backside. So man or zone, I was pretty confident we'd find someone open. Here we throw that corner route against zone coverage for the easy completion. So he'd ran zone, so it was like, okay, is he going to run zone again? We call the play mesh. This is an excellent play out of cluster. Really good. We're going to motion this player across our tight end. It's an auto motion, and he's going to run this right to the outside. Now, it was actually man coverage, but his user was responsible for this guy in man. He gets caught inside, and we can just layer this ball to the outside of him, spin back inside, pick up another 4 to 5 yards for a really nice gain. So now he called man once again, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to come out in my favorite man beater in the offense, and that is going to be Z spot. Slant, corner route, whip on this side, Z post on the backside. 4 great man beaters. We can just kind of read it out and see which one is open, but at this point, he actually ends up calling zone. So this is his hard flat biting way down, his hook baits way down. So my option here was I could have thrown the corner route, but I was kind of late to see it, but I have my whip breaking in and then breaking back out, and I want to throw this in between these 2 players right here. 3rd and 6 from the 8-yard line. We throw it right in between those guys. We get hit down to the 1-yard line, 1st and goal, and we're going to go back to our RPO peak bubble here. We want to read the linebackers in the middle of the field. If they fire down, this guy fires down, but then this guy gets underneath the slant. So we have one guy firing down, but this guy stays under the slant. So if I see that guy stay under the slant, we want to hand that ball off, and our running back dives in for the touchdown. That is drive 1. Okay, to start a drive 2, and once again, I want to start it with a run or RPO so I can kind of see what he's in. It's looking like single high right now, so that makes me think cover 3 or cover 1. We're going to hand the ball off and see. This is HB base out of one of our spread looks. Really nice run where we're just going to get a guard pulling across the formation, explode through the hole. We actually had a nice gap, but we just get tackled from behind there. So he started out in single high that last drive, so I want to call my play Y cross flood. This is a great way to beat cover 3. I thought, okay, he might be in cover 3. We might be able to hit a big play, but we drop back and we actually see he's in man coverage. So man coverage across the board. So my favorite routes against man here is going to be my slant attacking the middle of the field from the slot, or we have our running back on an option route. So he's either going to sit down versus zone, or man, he's going to break out. Here he breaks out to the sideline. Really nice option against man coverage. Runs away from a linebacker, jukes back inside, break another tackle, get upfield for about a 25-yard gain. Then I thought, okay, so he first play was in cover 3. That one he was in man. Is he going to go back to cover 3 because we kind of tore up his man coverage? I thought he might. So we're going to go back to Y cross flood with our player motioned inside here, this fade, and he's going to get in behind cover 3 defenders right here. Once he's even with this guy, we just want to throw it. So it's 1, 2, 3 deep. As soon as he's even, lay this up and away from him, throw it as far as you can, and you can drop this in for a 1-play touchdown against cover 3. So that's how we cap off drive number 2. Okay, now drive number 3, same thing. I want to start off with a run. Now we have 4-5 quick base. This is out of cluster. I like to motion our tight end over. This can give us the same look as some of our other plays in cluster, and we're going to have our backside guard pull, get upfield, drive forward for a good, 7-8 yards. Now, some of these plays, guys, are going to be plays that I break down on Scheme Kings. Not all of them are actually plays I broke down in the video. So, for some of these, check out Scheme Kings if you want to see the whole offense. So he had ran man that last play, so I'm going to go to Z spot out of cluster, my favorite man beater. We're going to go here, but he actually calls a zone coverage. So we have our whip kind of just in the flat, 2nd and 3, able to drop that in there enough to pick up the first down. Now we have H motion mesh wheel. So he went back to zone coverage. I wanted to go to a really nice zone beater here. We have our guy come across the field. Now this wheel is excellent against zone, but what happens here is if he ever calls man, most people, if they call a man coverage, they have the running back out of the backfield, but because of this motion and all the stuff happening in the middle of the field, the user who's responsible for our running back on the wheel falls asleep in the middle of the field, so we can just throw this wheel as he cuts upfield, break it upfield, and we turn this into like a 50-yard gain down at about the 15-yard line. So massive pickup right there. Now we're going to go back to our RPO with RPO peak bubble. Read these linebackers in the middle of the field. If they crash down on the run, which they do, fire in that slant right in behind them, down inside the 5-yard line. Then we have spot, a lead swing, which is a really nice red zone play that I'm going to break down at a later date. So we can read this side of the field versus zone. Then against man, we have the backside slant, and this really looked like man to me, and his man coverage is an outside shade, and we're running a slant. So this is absolutely stealing. I knew pre-snap this was going to be a touchdown. Really easy way to beat man right there, and we cap off drive number 3. Now, with just what you have here for this Tigers offense, you will be in a great spot. But remember, there's part 2 of this offense up on Scheme Kings right now that is going to make this whole scheme way more difficult to stop. But then if you want a full breakdown of the idea behind this full super spread offense and a look into the personnel we are going to use for this scheme, then you need to check out the intro video for the whole offense right here.